Video blog, November 23rd. No, 24th. Doing something a little different. Instead of writing, going to talk. In fact, we're going to do a little bit more than talk. What I hope to achieve here is a conversion into a new form of mass communication, with communication really being the focus, not so much the mass. Too much energy, I think, goes into reaching a larger audience, the biggest audience, who can get the most likes, who can get the most views. That's not what this is about. This isn't about getting the biggest reach. This is about making the point. The point that needs to be made by me. And I feel like it's getting a little lost in my writing, because as I'm trying to communicate my thoughts, my feelings, my perspective, I'm losing my truth, and that's the whole point. That's why I do it. That's why I vent. That's why I rant. That's why I speak, is to tell my truth. But if I'm losing my truth in the midst of saying it, then what the hell am I doing? So I've decided to do this so that I can, because I'm not a good typist, so that I can directly communicate what I have with whoever and wherever you are. So, a lot of people know that last March 2012, I had to put down my dog. And that may seem commonplace to a lot of people. But this was different. Buddy was the best friend I literally ever had. And I know that that's kind of common also. But there was a connection that I had with him that I'd never had with another living person. Give me a sec. So I'm talking about Buddy. Why am I talking about Buddy? For 5 years in active addiction, Buddy was with me every single day, save for a few times that I went to jail. And I think the longest I ever spent away from him was about 12 days in 2005. I went through all the horrors of addiction with him. Beatings, near-death experiences, loves, losses. I'd shared intimate moments with him, honest moments with him that I'd never had with another person. He was like a son, a best friend, and as he grew older, something of a teacher to me in some ways. When I got clean, we were apart for about 8 months 3 of them, I didn't see him at all just because it was very painful. People who have kids in early recovery have to separate themselves from them for the betterment of the family in order to heal enough to come back to them and be strong enough to provide. That's often necessary, so I think some people can identify with that. Again, it's often sort of, scoffed at because he was a dog, but I assure you, the feeling was the same. So when I got clean, and I found myself in a position to provide for him and to have a home for him, stability, comfortability, a place for him to spend his golden years, and not have to worry about where he was going to be sleeping, how he was going to eat, things of that nature. I took a lot of pride in that. In the last couple of years of his life, and especially the months leading up to his death, it became exceptionally difficult to bear. Just the idea of him losing. I used to wish for him to die in his sleep, that I would just discover him one morning, or I would come home from work or school and find him dead, because I did not want to have to make that call. I did not want to accept the responsibility of his execution, merciful or not. It's an execution. But the time came that it became unbearable. So I made the call, and I feel I did the best I could in terms of communicating with people around me that this was a really difficult decision, and that it had been made, and that actions had been set in motion. And then the next day, he was gone. I won't get into the details of that. It meant a lot to me, and it still does, in a positive way, but also in a very terrible, painful way, very heavy way. Not a day goes by that I don't regret deciding his death, even though I know intellectually it was the best thing to do. Since then, I have been giving myself more than 5 people could do. I have been keeping myself busy to the point of absolute insanity and beyond. I have this thing where, I say that insanity is what happens in here. Insanity is in the mind. Crazy exists in the real world. When insanity manifests into reality, it becomes crazy. Crazy can be seen by others, can be measured in dollars and weight. And lately, things have gotten crazy. And I'm not surprised. I'm not surprised at all. It makes perfect sense. Because I haven't been investing in myself. I haven't been even really remotely near myself for months. I sit up all night avoiding a person I cannot stand, and that person is me. And there was once upon a time in recovery, just a few short years ago, where I really enjoyed me. I dug me. I thought I was a pretty good guy. I liked hanging out with me. I would prefer me to other people sometimes. And then all of that changed when I made that decision. I resent myself so much. And I know it sounds silly. And I'm not saying this to gain pity. This is a realization that I am finally accepting. I've been spending my days and nights with a person I do not like, avoiding him at all costs. Okay, not all costs. No, I'm not out, chasing dope or, drinking my woes away with booze And I'm not even chain smoking cigarettes, punishing myself the way that I used to. But I am not being present with me. I've been doing everything I can to avoid having to just be with me. I've tacked on so many responsibilities, so many tasks and jobs, and interestingly, nothing that I'm getting paid for. But it's all recovery related, so I was able to rationalize it and justify it. The reason I'm bringing all of this up is because I feel like I'm finally maybe moving out of this fog of depression and into some kind of acceptance. And it's still sad. A lot of people know this. I'm an atheist, and in dealing with grief and death, the idea that there is nothing after we die. There's no continuation. The tape does not continue to play through on the other side. That's a harsh concept to accept, to take on, and I'm not comfortable with it, but I believe it. It seems real to me. Anything else would be a delusion. So coming to terms with the concept of nothingness and finding peace with that, it makes sense to me today that I need to stop lying in wait. I have not, as I said, been on the run, on the chase, on the hunt, on a mission to use every single day, treating my friends and my family and my loved ones like garbage. No. But I have been living a life that is indicative of a using addict for months. I don't sleep. Oftentimes I need to use melatonin or Benadryl, which is, sleep aids, over-the-counter sleep aids, to force myself to sleep because my brain simply won't shut off. And I don't know if you can relate to this, but it is hell to have to sit up at night with somebody that you do not like. I need to stop looking ahead. I need to stop wishing for the inevitable, because the inevitable never comes. I spend so much time looking ahead to when I get that degree. I'll get the respect that I want. I'll be, when I'm a professional, I'll be given the opportunities that I deserve. When my dogs get a little bit older, they'll be a little bit more calmed down. It'll be a little less stress. When I get a better car, I won't have to worry so much about it breaking down on me and maintenance. When X happens, everything will be A-okay. I can't keep waiting for X to happen. I used to be keen on saying that recovery happens. That was fine then, but it makes it like a far-off thing. Recovery needs to be now. I need to be now. I need to be here right now. I've spent so much time talking and not communicating. And while, sure, I may hear everything, I am not listening. I am going to be an old man tomorrow. And the only thing I will have to talk about is myself and my own boring stories, because I didn't take the time to learn any others. So I need to start listening. In order to do that, I need to be here now. I need to be in the now. If I'm going to be in the now, I cannot detest the person I am with. It just won't work. So, here we are. It's not a dilemma. It's not even really a conflict. It's not, how do I get from point A to point B? There's no more of that. It's how do I make point A where I want to be? I've spent a lot of time focusing on the then. It's time to start living now.